Question: how do F-35s punch through China's HQ-9 web without firing a shot? You're about to watch the exact sequence: stealth ingress, jamming, decoys, then the first kinetic hit on the carrier. We'll map the dominoes as they fall. Radar nodes blinded, command links cut, destroyers exposed. By the end, you'll see why a single sensor going dark can doom an entire fleet. Stay with me if you want the step-by-step that turns invisible into unstoppable. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You face a wall of radar and missiles. The first move is silence. A strike jet crosses a defended sea without a single warning tone by refusing the fight the network expects and forcing it to chase noise. The battle space is layered and tight. A carrier group sits under wide surveillance dishes.
The rising tensions between the world's two most powerful countries, the United States and China, after several military close calls.
The near collision, the latest episode straining an already tense U.S.-China relationship.
Coastal HQ, 9 batteries ashore, and shipboard sensors laced together by data links. Coverage overlaps, but seams exist where one radar's lobe fades and another's sideband rises. Those seams aren't empty. They're messy, and messy is where stealth wins. Here's the paradox. HQ-9 boasts reach and precise fire control, but that precision feeds on clean tracks. Long-range sets must pull a steady return across time to build trust. Stealth breaks that rhythm. It shaves returns down until they blend into background clutter. The same static analysts filter out to keep false alarms down. You don't beat the missile first. You beat the math that feeds it. The F-35 starts with shape, skin, and alignment that cut radar energy coming back to the emitters. It adds brains. Mission data files roll in, preloaded with threat libraries that match radar types by pulse habits, sweep rates, and side tones. With the radar silent on its end, the jet listens only. Passive sensors do the mapping.
These images were captured by Canadian broadcaster Global News. Tonight, both China and the U.S. are standing their ground.
But overnight at a security summit in Singapore, China's defense minister defended its warship.
An infrared search and track sniffs for engine heat peaking over the horizon, while electronic support measures fix the bearings of every emitter without broadcasting a reply. Then the jet maneuvers in the spectrum. No brute force wall of noise. It hands out problems of timing and geometry. A narrowband standoff source adds a faint hiss right where a tracking gate expects a return, nudging it off-center. A deceptive repeater captures a pulse and sends back a tweaked clone, late by a hair, angled by a degree, so the radar's computer starts to see a wobble that isn't real.
The authorities in both Taiwan and Washington, a new Chinese warship for its navy, which is already the largest navy in the world.
Experts say the fusion's development is proof of Beijing's plans to assert its naval dominance and increase its military competition with the United States.
Meanwhile, small decoys bloom in from a different quarter and inflate into targets that match the radar's own biases. Defensive teams must choose. They pick the bright lie. Think of the radar net as a maze of spotlights and mirrors. The F-35 tilts the mirrors, dims a bulb, and sends a stand-in down the wrong hallway. The real jet slides into the dark gap and keeps its mouth shut. Anti-radiation pressure adds another lever. Fire control radars know they are hunted by weapons that ride their beams, so they shut down, hop frequencies, or shift modes under stress. Each hop buys the jet a slice of time. Each mode switch forces the network to refuse tracks. Confidence drops. The missile battery waits for a better picture that never locks. Data links do the rest. F-35s share one fused view, not 4 separate ones. They pass bearings, heat spots, and threat IDs, then route through the quietest lobes, those low-energy side pockets where beam shape and seat clutter leave thin coverage. When they do transmit, they do it with timing that rides under thresholds and then cuts off. Short, disciplined, and only when the payoff is worth the risk.
It stands out for its high-tech electromagnetic catapult system that allows planes to take off with heavier weapons and fuel loads.
Well, wouldn't be sending a message that China has a navy to rival the US.
First, track quality slips. The long-range search set shows a smear where a crisp dot should be. Queuing fails next. The handoff to fire control arrives late or wrong. so the battery holds fire rather than waste a shot on a ghost. Shipboard radars switch modes to compensate and break their own continuity. The fleet fights the picture, not the attacker. With the umbrella thinned and clocks distinct, the path to the carrier opens. The strike flips from silent shaping to pressure on the center of gravity.
A significant moment for China. Its most advanced warship officially entering service as part of the world's biggest navy. The new ship, known as the Fujian, is the world's largest conventional aircraft carrier, which is diesel rather than nuclear-powered.
And the node that blinks next decides which side owns the next minute. One ship goes blind. Minutes later, the fleet is the prey. The flip starts with a broken picture, not a broken hull. The carrier runs the fight. Its escorts extend the reach, pass tracks, and guard the lanes. Kill or fracture the carrier's air picture, and the nerves misfire. Orders arrive late. Sectors overlap wrong. A ring meant to shield the center leaves gaps wide enough for a strike to thread.
Even test flights demand tremendous courage. What you do is truly remarkable. You are all heroes.
The Fujian is a big deal for Beijing because it's the first to be fully designed and built in China.
The threat doesn't vanish. Long-range anti-ship weapons and stacked air defenses wait to punish a miss. If the carrier survives the first blow with its picture intact, the counterpunch hits hard. So the strike solves for timing, angles, and trust in the picture. F-35s hold outside the primary engagement zones and cue standoff shots. They laze from offset bearings, pass coordinates through tight links, and send weapons down attack paths that stress weaker quadrants. Off-axis routes force defenders to swivel sensors and split their fire discipline. A shooter never points straight at the strongest face of the screen. Electronic cover swells the radar scene. Decoy missiles grow bright on scopes at the exact moment real weapons dim into ground clutter. Jammers smear the range and velocity gates, so tracking computers see fat shapes that slide and stutter. Ship radars switch modes to claw back clarity, search to track, pulse to pulse Doppler, and in the changeover they break their own continuity. Every switch steals seconds. Then the hit lands. It might be a near-ship detonation that knocks arrays out of alignment, or a penetration that cuts power trunks and network nodes. Flight ops halt. Elevators freeze. Deck teams dive for cover. But the key effect is in the air picture. The fused track loses quality and the carriers roll as the clean node fades. Escorts can still see, but they no longer see the same thing at the same time. Here comes the twist. Land-based anti-ship systems queue on a contested track. They need a solid fix to chain targeting from radar to missile to terminal seeker. Electronic protection on the strike side cuts data at each step, spot blinding on uplinks, deceptive angle cues, and false sea glints for seekers to chase. Intercepts run hot into empty water. The counterstrike still flies, but it hunts a shadow. With the carrier degraded, destroyers and frigates raise power to compensate. They become the bright beacons in the noise. That's the magnet for anti-radiation weapons. These missiles ride the beam, home on the emitter, and punish the unit that dares to guide. You can feel the choice on the bridge. Keep the radar up and die first, or go dark and lose the fight. One by one, radars blink off. Some shift to low power. Others hop bands and lose track stability. Command links start to fragment. Without the carrier's clean fuse, each ship holds a different truth. The screen opens. Gaps widen into corridors. Defensive fire grows cautious, then late. Now the fleet reacts instead of leads. It moves to defend last knowns. It chases ghosts the decoys fed into the net. And the strike pours through the weak side with fresh tasking, because the F-35s still share one picture, tight and timed. You've watched the change begin with a single sensor going dark, then the dominoes walk themselves to the edge. Next time you see a claim about air defense power, ask how it stands when the first node fails and every hand on the net has to choose between light and survival. Dominance comes from timing. You delay detection with stealth, break trust with electronic warfare, and land the first hit that leaves a fleet fighting blind. That sequence wins minutes, then the minutes win the fight. This is the story of tempo, not brute force. You steal the clock, corrupt the picture, and force every defender to choose between a guess and a risk. The result feels like a trap that set itself.